TJ the Wheel Deal coming at you live. It is Monday, August the 3rd, 9:36 a.m. Central Time, Texas time. Happy Palantir earnings day. And tomorrow is the first earnings for SpaceX as a publicly traded company. Anyway, for those of y'all that might not know, my name is TJ the Wheel Deal. I sell puts, I sell calls for a living. I roll what makes dollars and cents, and I do it with 100% transparency. The only person on YouTube or X that does so. Our level of transparency is above and beyond. It's not no one even comes close. That's just the absolute reality of it. Anyway, let's get into it. I got a new format that I'm rolling out today. I've been working a lot with Claude, training my little robot, if you will. And I think I've got the right methodology now to show you guys a very accurate rundown of our book, of our portfolio, but to where it's not too busy because I was just going live on the brokerage and had been doing that. Started with the Robinhood platform, then transitioned over to Tasty Trade about a year ago. And it's just Tasty Trade is just too busy. It's just too busy, and it's real hard for me to stay focused because the numbers are moving around all over the screen. So I still have the Tasty Trade platform open in the background in case if there's a move I need to make, I'll just switch over to the brokerage and make that trade live while we're talking. Because I can't just that's why I don't go live as much anymore. Because I'm like, well, I just can't go live and talk about what we do for a living because I actually do is what I do, right? We sell puts, we sell calls, we collect premium, roll one makes dollars and cents. Because it kind of puts me in a catch 22, if you will. But now I'm gonna be showing the slides, but I might have to pivot away from the slide if there's a trade I gotta take, and I'll take that trade live for you guys. I've already got Tasty Trade on privacy mode and I'm still able to make trades while it's on privacy mode. So it's something that I'm just learning, I'm just learning, trying to figure out what's the best way that I could disseminate all of this information but still be able to do my job for the family at the end of the day, right? So, anyway, what's going on, Angel? Yes, SoFi has some legs today. Our covered calls are absolutely underwater right now, and that is a good place to be. In fact, I'm thinking about selling more calls now. I'm so excited about it. I've been getting after my fitness. Hopefully, you guys can see. I'm about 10 pounds away from hitting 200. It's been a goal of mine for seems like 10 years now. Struggled being over 200 now. I'm like, okay, I'm in the zone now. I'm in the zone. I'm I'm on my diet. The working out's easy because I enjoy doing that. It's the hard part's the kitchen, right? The hard part's the grocery store. Those are the hard parts. The hard part's going to the restaurant and not overdoing it. That's the tough part. Because you think about it, you can only work out once, maybe twice a day, but you eat two, three, four, 5 times a day. So there's a lot more times to either get it right or screw it up eating than there is working out. So that's why you say you can't outwork a bad diet. Anyway, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. So I think I've got it set up here. Let me go this way, and the deck should be there. The deck should be there. So let me see if this is true or not. So I've got it in the background. So it's showing up on mine. So I'm assuming we're good. Can you guys send me a text? Put it on the WhatsApp group because the give me and the gotcha when I do this and I go full screen so that I can like focus on what I'm trying to do. I no longer have access to the comments. I no longer have access to the comments. So if you guys can kind of like kindly let me know, like, hey, we're good. Let me know that we're good. That would be really, really helpful. So let's get into it. Where we stand, the position walkthrough. This is the Theta engine, the week ahead, gimmies and gotchas, right? So it's Monday, August the 3rd, 2026. I took these screenshots. So what I do is I shoot a screenshot over to Claude. I've already given it a lot of stuff. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is the way I like to present, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is the way I like to aggregate data, how I want to look at the data, if you will. So I trained my little robot, I feel, to a way that really makes dollars and cents for me. Hopefully you guys can appreciate that and you can follow along. So instead of just like showing you the whole page, I'm going to be clicking next and it's going to be revealing it as I'm talking through it. So it's kind of like effectively becomes like my little teleprompter, if you will. So anyway, let me know if you like the format. So what do we got going on for the week ahead? Why it matters with the book. So tonight we got Palantir earnings. Tomorrow we got SpaceX's first print. Thursday, 116 billion unlock. Right, this is I think for SpaceX. Friday we have 3 rungs expiring, 8 screens in this walkthrough. So let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. So today again, Palantir earnings after the close, and we're complete at 30,000 shares, fully covered, largest capital line in the book. I mean, it's nuts. And then our buying power reduction is $1.42 million. Keeping it going. Tomorrow, we got SpaceX, first ever earnings. SpaceX reports its maiden public quarter after the close. Consensus revenue is about $6.8 billion. Earnings per share is negative 23 cents. So they're going to be losing money. We got 4,000 shares. We're going to get into all this stuff, but I'm just kind of like revealing what's going to happen here. It's kind of like a table of contents, if you will. And then we got SpaceX, the lockup expiry, 911 million pre-IPO shares unlocked, roughly $116 billion in value, about 1.4 times the size of the IPO itself. So the float's getting bigger. So once the entire float's there, and it might take a year or whatever for the entire float to hit the market, then we're really going to know what we have to work with. So right now, we're just all kind of crystal balling SpaceX, if you will, but we're going to have a lot more data here very, very soon. And we're sitting on 4,000 shares. Our goal is 10,000. So I was like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not Miss Cleo. So I'm like, well, let me just go build almost half of the position now. Let the chips fall where they may. It goes up. Maybe I never get to 10,000 shares for us. But 4,000 is better than nothing, right? But if it goes down, well, I can go scoop another 5,000-6,000 shares at 60, 70, 80 bucks, wherever it settles. My average will still be in the high 90s, low 100s. I can manufacture the win. That's why I'm not enamored with, I got to buy the bottom. I got to show everybody how good we are. Like, dude, that's just it's like, what do you want, a cookie? I did a post on Next. It's like, here's a cookie for all the predictions you've gotten right on Next. Let's see how close that actually gets you to retirement. What you need more than predictions and projections is you need positions, guys. The only thing that can help you get to the promised land for you and your family is actually having positions on. A lot of people don't know that. I feel like I have to be the asshole to tell you that kind of stuff. Keeping it going. We have 3 front rungs expiring. On Friday, we got the MSTR 110 calls, 250 contracts. We have the Enphase $42 calls, and then and it's 100 contracts. And we have the TSOL covered calls, 85 contracts, all covered 1 for 1 by the shares. So we have covered calls expiring, not naked calls. So it's like, I don't even have to look at these things. They could either expire in the money, out of the money, go up, down, sideways, in circles. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because we're in a position to deliver the shares. So whenever you're running cover versus naked, it's a real, there's a huge difference there. August 21st, the Micron completion order. We have 700 puts, 18 days out. Assignment takes Micron from 3,800 to exactly 5,000 shares. And that's collateral. The notional is $840,000. We're sitting on about $1 million in cash. So that would effectively wipe out our entire cash position. Let me know if you guys like the format to where it's just like it's popping up as I'm talking versus the page being really, really busy. And then I'm just asking y'all to kind of follow the cursor, if that makes sense. I feel like this should be easier for you guys. That was my idea when I dreamt this up. Hopefully it's kind of playing out that way. Then we got the book. This is kind of like our table of contents, if you will, right? Where we stand at the value, at the open, the net lick, the cash, the theta, every name at a glance. Then we got the money 3 ways: what we paid, what it's worth, and the ceiling if every dollar of premium captures. Those are our pie charts. Then the open, what moved overnight and why we are up without placing a trade, because we haven't done any trades this morning. If I take a trade, I'll take it on here live with you guys. I've got CNBC on in the background, so I'm glancing at tickers as you go across the screen. If I see something that stands out, I get a notification on one of the phones, whatever, I'll have to click over to the brokerage real quickly and kind of see what's what, if that's, if that makes sense. We got 9 positions. We got SoFi, Palantir, MSTR, Micron, SpaceX, Enphase, Tesla, TSOL, BMNR. Every leg, every ladder, gimme and gotcha. And then the Theta runway, every dollar of premium collected but not yet earned, laid out by expiration. Then we got the campaign scoreboard, what the call ladders have collected and how much is captured in flight. And after that, we go to the manufactured to win. This is like, okay, what's the whole purpose of what I do for a living? Is ultimately we want to buy shares with other people's money. It's the American way, right? The wealthy people use other people's efforts, other people's ideas, other people's money, and they stay the hell away from other people's opinions. So in this case here, we're using other people's money. We want to buy shares and own shares with other people's money. How can we use other people's money? By selling puts and calls and collecting premium and ultimately capturing that premium. That makes it other people's money, but they're our shares. And that's the idea in a nutshell. And that is what I consider manufacturing the win. Then we got the North Star, shares now versus the destination and what the slots are worth in 2032. This whole thing, if it all works out, I feel like we should somehow be able to get to $100 million by 2032. I know it sounds kind of crazy when the portfolio is sitting at about 8.5. But that's just, we all have goals. We're all living the dream. I'm one of those guys that I like to chase dreams while I'm wide awake. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning, and I'm wide awake and I'm chasing this dream, and we're just documenting it for everybody. Then we got the gimmies and the gotchas, 4 events in 5 days, and the book is positioned for all of them. Palantir prints tonight completed, 30,000 shares that are fully covered. The print is a premium event, not a slot risk. SpaceX reports its first public quarter tomorrow, and 2 days later, 911 million shares unlocked. That lockup is not a threat to us. It is the accumulation window we've been waiting for, and we're only 4,000 shares into a 10,000 share goal. What's the gotcha? 4 catalysts also means 4 ways to be wrong. Palantir is the largest capital line in the book at 1.42 million, and a violent move reprices 5 rungs and an $8 million put backstop at once. SpaceX has never reported as a public company, so there's no history to lean on. That's the reality, right? That's the reality. The float's going to get a lot bigger, and it kind of is what it is. So let's talk about the book. What do we got going on here? So we got net liquidation value of 8.42. Profit and loss today, we're positive 320. I feel like that should be in green. So I'm going to talk to my little robot. I feel like that number should be in green, not red, because it's a good number today. We got 1,066,000 cash on hand. Premium still to capture, 6.7. Theta per day, the drip rate, if you will, is 4.46,000. And the buying power utilization right now is 60%. So a little bit high on the utilization, and the goal is 50,000 a day. So I'm trying to get the data that's coming out of the pipe at $50,000 a day. Hopefully we can capture half of that, and the net lick theoretically should be going up by that much per day, provided that the shares all stay flat. So we got SoFi complete, 250,000 shares. We're 100% of the goal there. Spot is at 1717 at the time of these screenshots, which was about 10 minutes before I went live. Obviously, it could be all over the place right now because we're live. The numbers move. It is what it is. So it kind of gives you all of that there. We're up 217 for the day on SoFi. On Palantir, we're complete at 30,000 shares, so 100% of the goal. The spot is at 124 at the time of these screenshots. It could be at 126. It could be at 122. Those are the gimmies and gotchas going live with you guys right now while the market's still moving. Does that make sense? So the buying power reduction is 1.4 million on Palantir, so it's the largest on the book. But we are bringing in $7,500 in Theta per day, 2,500 on SoFi per day. We got 1.16 premium to capture. Profit and loss per day on Palantir is 53,000. Keeping it going, MSTR, we're building it. We have 25,000 shares. The goal is 30. So we're 83% of the way there. It was trading at 94. The buying power reduction is about $1 million. We're bringing in 13,000 in Theta per day. And this is the biggest premium to capture, right? This is the largest extrinsic of $3.3 million out there. And most of it is basically hanging on needing MSTR to be above $100. I mean, a lot of this portfolio rests on that. We need MSTR above $100 in 500 days. That's just the reality of it. Micron, we're building it. We're at 3,800 shares, so 76% to the goal. It's currently trading about $800. Buying power reduction is 1.1. It's bringing in $15,800 in theta per day. Premium to capture 2.6. A lot of our hopes and dreams rest on Micron being above $500 in a year or so, and we're down about $100,000 on Micron for the day. SpaceX, we're building it. We're at 4,000. Our goal is 10,000, so we're 40% of the way there. It's currently trading, according to this thing, at 111. BPR is 43,000. Pretty negligible, but it is bringing in $2,600 in theta per day. We have $61,000 of theta on the books, extrinsic value, and we're up 10,000 for the day. In phase, we're at 40% there, right? So we've got 10,000 shares. The goal is 25,000 shares. So that's 40% there. Is currently trading at 38 and some change. BPR is 90,000. It's bringing in 2,000 in theta per day. We've got 24,000 of extrinsic out there, and we're up 6,300 for the day. Tesla, we're building this thing too. We got 1,000 shares. We'd like to get to 2,500. So that's 40% of the way there. We're, bringing in $600 in theta. We got the premium to capture. It's pretty self-explanatory. So I'll click a little faster. TSOL, we got 8,500 shares. Just a swing trade. We got the shares for so at $8. So we'll see what happens. They either stay on the books or they don't. What I do not like about TSOL is the buying power reduction. It's like dollar for dollar. So truth be told, if I could just sell these for break even, I'd rather take those monies and double the Tesla position. It's just more capital efficient. PM&R, this is the leap path. We're down on that, right? So we need, in order to get whole on BM&R in short, we need this thing to go to like $60, and then at that point we would be at break even. So we can't even talk about making money on BM&R until it gets to $60. That's the kind of hole that we're in. So the books, 332,300 shares. The buying power reduction is 5 million. It's bringing in 46,000 in theta per day. Premium to capture 6.75. So if everything expired out the money, that 6.75 gets added to the net lick, and that puts us at over 15 million. That's essentially how that works. And our profit and loss for the day is positive. This number should be in green, something that I will talk to Claude about, reprimand it a little bit, if you will. So strong open up 320,000 with 0 trades placed. This is a book working on its own, and new theta record at 46,500 a day. Since I started tracking it with Claude, we've had $100,000 in theta a day at one point. But since I started tracking it here, that's what the robot knows, right? 8 of 9 names are green. SoFi loan out at 217,000. 2 North Star slots are finished. Every front run across the entire book is covered by shares we actually own, not one naked front run anywhere. That's important. Those are lessons that I learned since I moved over to Tasty Trade. Okay, you're going to play the expiration game. If you're going to play naked calls, you have to have those expiring in the distance. Cover calls, you can write it out because it doesn't matter, because worst case scenario, you deliver the shares. But you can't play that game with naked calls because it could be devastating. Micron is the exception, and it's a big one. We're down 26.03 today to 797 shares, giving back 99,000, and the August 700 put is now 12% out of the money. The book still carries 1.1 million of open loss, and buying power sits at 60.5%, higher than the 50s where we like it. Palantir reports tonight the largest capital line in the book walks into a print, and most of the premium bank is long dated. The bulk of it is needs 2027 to play. So in other words, of that 6.7, the vast majority of it gets captured next year. So just, kind of putting that into context. So the money 3 ways. It's like what we paid, what it's worth, and what it becomes if the premium bank captures in full. So we paid 16 million for the shares. They're currently worth 14 million. So we're down 1.478 million on the shares, and that's the leaps as well. So this is our whole long book, if you will. And we got 6.7 million in premium to capture. The ceiling, if everything works out right now, the way that it stands, with the shares staying flat, the leaps not working out, we would be at 15 million bucks effectively. But you got to fast forward the clock about a year and a half or so to capture everything. So the long book, what are the shares worth? 14.6, and this is what we paid, and this just kind of gives you the breakdown, right? SoFi is the blue one right here. So it's SoFi, Palantir, Micron, MSTR, and then the rest of it's small. Premium still to capture, it's a 7.47 collected, not yet earned. So we have premium to capture of 6.7, but here it says collected, not yet earned is 7.7. That's your negative equity right there. So every time that you roll and you roll and you roll and you're baking in that that negative equity into the cake, it's got to go somewhere. Well, on this channel, we're telling you that there's about $1 million in negative equity that's baked into that cake. So that's like trading in a car with negative equity. At some point, you have to write out the loan to come out okay on the other side. So that's this is me showing y'all where it is. This isn't like tricky accounting or anything with some of these companies that report, in the spirit of earnings season. This is me being fully transparent. We have sold a lot of puts. We've had to roll and roll and roll to readjust, reposition. We've sold a lot of calls that started going against us. We rolled and rolled and rolled to reposition. So all of that negative equity gets baked into the cake. And that's why this pie is bigger than what we actually have to capture. If that makes sense. Hopefully it does. And then a net lick, if everything works out, basically the extrinsic goes over to the net lick, and that becomes the new net lick. Pretty straightforward. Strong open up 320,000. The gotcha, Micron. Micron needs to perform, right? Because we're very, very heavy in a Micron. So now the open, what do we got going on here? Profit and loss for the day, 320,000 from SoFi loan, 217,000. The Micron call wall paid 187,000 today. Micron shares gave back 99,000. No trades placed. So SoFi positive change of 87 cents. The shares 2/3 of the book gain. Tesla is performing. SpaceX is performing. Again, this is all based on when I did these screenshots. In a little bit, I'm going to flip over just real quickly. I'm going to glance at the portfolio to make sure that everything's holding up. MSTR is performing. Enphase, TSLL, BMNR. BMNR is down on the day. Micron's down on the day. So this is how it all looks like. Everything's very, very straightforward. I don't have to read every little thing there. You guys can screenshot and all this stuff so we can kind of keep the program going. So there's that. So now we talk about the actual position. SoFi. What's going on with SoFi? We got the buying power committed is 522,000, bringing in 22 a day. Premium to capture 187.5. Theta per dollar of BPR daily is 0.48%. I mean, I'm giving you guys some metrics here. Manufacturer strict 61.5% adjusted basis per share is $7.15. So we're 250,000 shares long on SoFi, and we're down on the shares. And we've got some covered calls, right? We got some covered calls for October the 16th at $20, and we're down $67,000 on those shares. So I am thinking about selling. More covered or naked calls on SoFi to bring in more premiums so that I can increase. Somebody's saying that you guys can't hear me. Can you guys hear me on the audio? Can you guys hear me? Manish, can you hear me? Somebody's here. Bustamante is saying that they cannot hear me. Let me know if we're good on the audio, guys, because I don't want to just be talking to myself here. Morning, TJ, cover call. Yeah, I can hear. Okay, we're good. We're going to keep it going. So that's something that I'm considering is to sell 2,500 more naked calls on SoFi, and I'm looking at the end of the year, $25. I'd like to bring in $65 a contract. If I could do that, I'm going to take that calculated risk because I could deliver the shares at 20, buy the shares back, and then I'm covered from 20 to 25, right? So I'm going to play that game. There's no longer an emotional attachment with SoFi. It's shown the company is showing me that they're doing amazing. Mr. Market's also showing me that they're not ready to like buy into that narrative just yet. Remains to be seen. We'll see. But in the interim, I got to bring some money through the door. Story of the morning. SoFi jumped 87%, blah, 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 blah. And then obviously we're getting destroyed on the cover calls, and that's a good place for us to be. I prefer to be there. I prefer to be in this situation than to be bleeding out on the shares all day, every day, twice on Sunday. So what do we got going on with Palantir? This is the featured stock of the day, right? They got earnings tomorrow. Hopefully they get to like 130, 140, 150. I am not cheering against Palantir in any way, shape, or form. Why? Because we got 30,000 shares. 30,000 shares. And we have a net position delta of $35,000. So in short, what that means, for every dollar that Palantir goes up, we're making $35,000. So I am not cheering against Palantir, guys. I'm not cheering against Palantir. I need to go buy some pom-poms. I'm going to go get a wig like Alex Carb. We're on the Palantir train today, baby. We are on the Palantir train today. We got 30,000 shares long on Palantir. Probably bigger than anybody that goes on Palantir weekly. How you might be able to combine all their shares, then they might not get to 30,000. So we got a huge ass position on Palantir. Huge ass position on Palantir, and we would love for this thing to go up and to the right. So what expires here soon? August 21st, 165. So we're basically saying, hey, we own these shares at like 127. We will sell them to you for 165, and we got paid for that. Not a lot, but we got paid some. $28,000. It's bringing in $2,000 a day, and it is what it is, and it's a 7 delta. So there's a 7% chance that we would theoretically have to sell these shares at 165 if I didn't manage the contracts, and I'm okay with that. But then now we got the ladders going. So it's like, okay, we bought $3.8 million worth of shares. I'm not satisfied with just bringing in $28,000. That doesn't give us any protection to the downside, because theoretically, Palantir could go to zero, right? That's the risk that you take whenever you own shares, is the stock could go to zero. So we're like, okay, well, how much money would you bring us if we agree to sell the shares at 185 in September? We brought in 21,000. How much money would you pay us if we agreed to sell the shares in November at 200? We brought in 64,000. How much money would you give us if we agreed to sell the shares at 230 in December? We brought in 46,000. How much money would you give us if we agreed to sell the shares at 300 for next January? We brought in another 23,000. And then it's all about the backstop trade on this channel. It's like, well, we'll agree to buy a shitload more shares at $80 in December of 2027. How much will you pay for that? $925. So I'm showing you how the extrinsic value is being built up and what was the mindset. Because I'm like, okay, well, 28,000 offers shit for protection to the downside. But another 21,000, 64,000, 46,000, 23,000, that's something. It wouldn't be as good as like just buying puts, but I'm a premium collector on the channel. I'm not a net premium. I don't like to pay for premium. I like to get paid premium. So this is my version of, instead of buying puts, I'll take on the risk of the naked calls, because I want to bring some money through the door. If the stock goes up and I had bought puts, I'm going to be out that money. So I'm okay potentially being out some money if the stock goes up and I got a bunch of naked calls and start getting out of hand, because I was like, well, if I had bought puts, it would have been basically the same result. But at least here I had a chance, because it could go up and I could still be okay on a naked call. You're never going to be okay if it goes up when you bought puts. It's just mathematically, it's impossible. It's not going to happen. So anyway, let me know if this format's really working out for you guys. I'm digging it. It's easier for me to keep on track here. Again, we're complete at 30,000 shares. The only name in the book that's green on the year, of 411,000 year to date. Shares added 53,000 this morning. Every call rung is genuinely covered by share count. 29.7 of the call notional working, and 1.12 of premium still to capture. The slot is locked at 15 million for 2032. So that's what I believe the shares are going to be worth in 2032, is 15 million. So I'm just managing them along the way, trying to bring some premium through the door. What's the gotcha, guys? Earnings tonight. This is the last gate in the gauntlet, and it's the largest capital line in the book at 1.42 mil. We walk in completely and fully covered, so the print is a premium event rather than a slot risk. But a violent move, it either helps us or hurts us depending on if the move is to the upside or the downside. A violent move to the upside does not hurt us, guys. I mean, you have to go to like 200 overnight for it to like strain a little bit, because that we have 35,000 position delta long. What does that mean? Effectively, it's the share equivalent of 35,000 shares. How could you have a position delta of 35,000 when you only own 30,000 shares? Because 30,000 shares is 30,000 deltas. It's because we have long delta on the backstop trade as well. The short puts is long delta. Short calls is short delta. So that's how all the math shakes out. What am I expecting on Palantir? I think they're going to crush it. I think they're absolutely going to crush it, and they're going to take yet another step closer to growing into their valuation. So it is my idea. The reason that I got extremely bullish on Palantir here recently on price action, I've always been bullish on Palantir, the company, but on price action now I'm bullish, is because this is going to be like their third or fourth knock the cover out off the ball, knock it out of the park earnings. So they continue to grow into their valuation. I feel like it's just a matter of time before Mr. Market starts to price in an even larger valuation on Palantir, and they can make their ascent back up to $200 a share. And then they'll spend a year or two growing into that valuation, and so on and so forth. MSTR, what's going on with MSTR? We got buying power committed, Theta per day. We got 25,000 shares. Our positions delta is 37,000. Why is the delta position so? It's because we have that backstop trade. So I'm just going to kind of like put this one out there. And it's very straightforward, right? So we got the shares for sale at 110. I don't think it's going to hit. So I've got them for sale again at 110 at the end of August. And then I've got the shares for sale at 125 and 165, 185. And we brought in quite a bit of premium. So the door, because we had to protect against the downside, because what hurts us on the downside is owning 25,000 shares. That hurts us if it goes down, and being committed to $10 million of strategy at $100 way down the road. That really hurts us to the downside. Trying to throw this a little bit quicker on Micron. We've got net position delta of 3,900, 3,800 shares with an agreement to buy 1,200 more shares in August at $700. That would really lower our average, because our average right now is $961 per share. I'd like to get that in the 800s, guys. I'd like to get that in the 800s. And then we've got just a massive ladder cooking here. So we've agreed to sell the shares at 1,200. That's covered. Our naked calls are 1,300, 1,500, 1,500, 1,600. Then we got the backstop trade, and then we got our crown jewel trade at 2,500. So I manage all of these. At the end of the day, June the 17th, 2027 rolls around, and Micron is trading at 2,501. I would love to sell those shares at 2,500. And this gives you all the premiums collected. Pretty straightforward. I don't have to spend too much time here. SpaceX, this one's exciting because it reports tomorrow, right? So we've got, the 4,000 shares. We'd like to build it up to 10,000, and then we've got all the ladders, right? We got all the ladders. We've got the front run covered at 150, so we're agreeing to sell the shares at 150. I mean, shit, why not? We bought them at 132. That'd be a nice little profit, and then we'd have to buy the shares again so that we're covered for 175. But if the 150s expire out of the money, then those fall off, and now the 175s become covered. And that's how this whole deal works in a nutshell. You guys can see all the premiums and stuff. I feel like I can just kind of get through this a little bit easier, a little bit faster, because you guys kind of got the flow now. Same thing for all of them, man. End phase. We own the shares. We agree to sell the shares at a certain price. If it expires worthless, that run falls off the table. The next one becomes covered, etc. If not, we manage. Or we can deliver, buy the shares again, and we move on and fight to another day. So it just depends on how big the position here is. So the fortunate thing about end phase is we don't have to manage any of this stuff, because we could just deliver the shares at 42, buy the shares again. We don't even need the cash to settle, because we got the money to buy an additional 10,000 shares. And then now we're already set and covered for the next one. And we could just theoretically do this until 50. We're already covered. We deliver, we rebuy, we cover, we deliver, we rebuy, we cover, we deliver, we rebuy. And then we still sitting on 10,000 shares. Or I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this position. We made money. We got a bunch of options here, guys. We got a bunch of options here. Tesla, this one's fun. It's a new position. It's small for us right now, but we're excited about it. We got the 1,000 shares at 311. It's already working a little bit. We don't have a lot of deltas here because it's a small position. We've got the shares for sale 325 in August 21st. We got the shares for sale again at 375. Shares for sale again in October at 425. So it's all the same thing. This expires worthless. This falls off. This becomes covered. This is still uncovered, and so on and so forth. Or we deliver the shares, we rebuy. We're in a position to deliver the shares again. We rebuy. We're in a position to deliver the shares again, and then we can make a decision. So that's how that works out. TSL is very straightforward. We got 8,500 shares, and we got the shares for sale at $8. So if it's above $8 on Friday, there's a situation where we might not own the shares anymore, and I'm probably going to be okay with it. Why? Because I don't like the buying power reduction here. It is just not a capital efficient trade. It just isn't. BM&R, those are the leaves. We're just absolutely getting annihilated on the leaves. We need, bottom lines, we need BM&R to go up and to the right. There's no way around it. So now let's talk about the Theta. When does the money come in? When does the money come in? Because one thing to collect it, when can you capture it, right? That's the thing. When can you capture it? Collecting Theta is easy, dude. It is easy to collect Theta. Capturing it, a whole different monster. Whole different monster. So August the 7th, what do we got? We got 12,000 coming in on August the 7th. On August the 14th, we're pretty light. We got another 10,800 coming in from the call side. August the 21st, we got 36,000, and it tells you the percentage of the book and everything. I mean, these are very, very useful metrics. Now, the neat thing about August the 21st is we also have some put money coming in because that's the Micron trade, right? Because again, like I haven't figured this out on the book, is the only short dated put that we have on the books is Micron, because we're trying to build it up to 4,000 shares or 5,000 shares. Sorry. Everything else is long dated backstop trades. That's it. So we made a pivot, and we're like, okay, we're going to own a bunch of shares, and we're going to run short, medium, long dated ladders, call ladders, and then we're going to put backstop trades on. And we just have 3 really big backstop, the NTR and the Palantir backstop trades. So those are the short puts on the books. And then they're long dated short puts, my backstop trade. And then we have the short dated short put, which is Micron. And then everything else is just call premiums coming through the door. So it's a very, very bullish portfolio. So now it starts getting fun, right? In October, we got almost 500,000 coming in. November, 149. So it gets serious pretty quickly. And then next year, it really starts getting serious. And then the year, I mean, you can see right here, this big one, it's $4 million. What is that? Strategy. That's what that is. That's strategy. We need strategy to be above $100. So we're not cheering against Michael Saylor or anything of the sort. I'm very confused by Michael Saylor at times, but I'm not cheering against him. So that's all of it. Keeping it going. The campaign scoreboard, call out or tally, it just kind of gives it all to you. So how many open rungs we have. So we got SoFi, we got 1 open rung. Palantir, we got 5. MSTR 5. Micron 6. SpaceX 5. Enphase 3. Tesla 3. TSO 1. BM&R 1. So what determines how many rungs I have? Good question. Glad you asked. It's buying power. So on SoFi, I could put another rung on there, and it helps my buying power. Past that, I can't do it. On Palantir, we can't do any more rungs. They're like, no, you do more rungs, we want buying power. We don't trust it anymore. On MSTR, we're at the max at 5. On Micron, we're at the max. On SpaceX, we're at the max. Enphase, we can probably do one more rung. On Tesla, we're at the max. And what I mean by that is the next rung that I sell on Tesla, it doesn't help my buying power. It reduces the buying power, and we're already at 60%. So I ain't trying to do that. So that determines buying power reduction, determines how many rungs I can sell on each one. And on BM&R and TSOL, it's only 1. Why? Because it requires the buying power of buying all of those shares. So if we're selling another rung on TSOL that would bring in maybe $1,000, they're going to want another $64,000 in buying power reduction. So it's just not good. It's not good for the program. Those are the gimmies and the gotchas. The gotcha is really important. Collected is not captured, guys. It's very important to understand that. Hopefully, you guys do. It's one thing to collect, it's another thing to capture. Every dollar in that extrinsic calling can still be given back if a name rips through its strikes before expiry. That is exactly what happened on Micron this morning. Negative 171,000 realized on 2 rolls. The scoreboard moves in both directions. And this is really talking about what happened on Friday. Is I wanted to roll some calls to give myself just a lot more breathing room because I had some calls expiring at 1,000 and 1,100 that were a little bit uncomfortable for us. So it costs us money to do that, right? That money got baked into that cake that we were talking about earlier with the negative equity. Manufacture the win, the adjusted cost basis, and all that stuff kind of tells you where we're at. So SoFi with a 250,000 shares, we paid 18,000 realized premiums. So it just kind of gives you all those metrics, right? Gives you all those metrics. Like we got a long way to go. We're at 61% of the way there on SoFi. We're 36% of the way there on Palantir. We're negative 86% on MSTR because overall the campaign's losing money. We're negative 43% on Micron because overall the campaign's losing money. SpaceX, we're negative 1%. On Enphase, we're 65%. We've already manufactured the win on Tesla if we stay at 1,000 shares because we're 116% of the way there. And we're negative 154% on TSOL. Now, we've made a lot of money on TSOL, but that hasn't been on premium. That's been on capital appreciation. And BM&R, we're just absolutely getting destroyed. So that's how all that works out. The North Star. It's like, what am I building here? What are we doing? You know, the gold book, trying to get to 100 million. That's the idea. So how are we going to do that? So we need BM&R to go up and to the right. We have a target of $100 in 2032. So that would be worth, theoretically, if we have the 250,000 shares, that would be worth $25 million to us. MSTR, we get to 30,000 shares and they're trading at 700 for the year 2032. That would be worth 21 million for us. If SoFi is trading at 75 by 2032, that's 18.75 million. If Palantir is trading at 500, 2032, that's 15 million. If Micron is trading at 2,500, it's another 12.5 million. Now, mind you, I would love for this to happen in 2027 on Micron, and it's off the books, and it already contributed. And now I would have an extra 3 or 4 or 5 years to use that money somewhere else. Maybe that's the money that I use to buy BM&R. That makes sense. SpaceX could be worth 6 million if it hits our target of 600 in 2032, and we have 10,000 shares. Enphase could be worth 3 million if it hits our target of 120 and we have 25,000 shares. And Tesla could be worth 3 million if it hits our target of $1,200 in 2032 and we own the 2,500 shares. These are the gimmies and the gotchas. And that's all of it, man. And that's all of it. Hopefully that made some sense to you guys. Hopefully that made some sense to you guys. And I'm going to check in with you guys here real quick. I'm going to look at the portfolio in the background. The other thing that I wanted to do here is I'm just going to glance at the portfolio now. That way you guys can see that it's all there. It's all legit, right? So we're up. So it's holding up is what I'm saying. So now we're just going to glance at this right here. Our buying power usage has gone to 59.3%. I have this on privacy mode, so it doesn't give you the net licks. You guys have to trust me there because it can't be revealing a bunch of account numbers and stuff because I don't know who you guys are. Some of y'all might be up to no good. I know a lot of y'all, but some of y'all I don't know. So here's MSTR. So we're gonna finish out with this, and we're gonna finish out with 1 minute with God. That way we just like show the actual brokerage. That way I didn't just pull these numbers out of our ass. It's all here. I just try to give you all in a format that's a lot easier to follow along, if that makes sense. So there's the MSTR. We got the 25,000 shares, and there's the ladder, and there's the put. TSOL, we got the shares for so at 8. Enphase, there's the ladder, there's the shares. It's very straightforward, man. It's very straightforward. I just feel like the other ways is a hell of a lot easier to follow. There's Micron. It's flipped green for the day. Tesla, look at Tesla now. This is where I want to be. This is where I want to live right here. This is where I want to live. So now here's where the decision becomes. Am I going to start getting all frantic? Am I going to start rolling now, early, premature? What am I going to do? I'm like, I could theoretically deliver these shares at 325. I got $50 to work with before I'd have to deliver more shares at 375. So what could I do? What could I do? Well, the one thing that I could do is I could just start buying the next rung now. So I'm like, well, why don't I buy 200 more shares? Buy some more deltas. We got the money. We got the money, right? So go over here. We got 1,066,000. Trying to get to 10,000, trying to get to 25,000 shares anyway. Obviously it would be better to buy them at 300 versus 323, but I'm playing the long game, and I'm like, let's just take the pressure off to the upside, because we're already covered here, and now we're 20% covered for the other one, while we're waiting for this money to hit our account so that we can buy the shares again. So why is it important to buy those 200 shares? Good question. Glad you asked, because it's going to help protect us from the gap up. So we end up selling the shares at 325. Tesla is trading at 335, 340. Well, those 200 unencumbered shares can help make up some of that difference between selling the shares at 325, rebuying them back at 335, 340, whatever the case may be. So people are like, oh, why would you want to do that? I was like, because it's not really that important of where I buy them versus where I sell them, because this was a profitable trade. It's just important that I buy them below 375. Again, I'm just looking at this as an institution, if you will, like from an institutional perspective. The other thing that I could easily do, is do this. This is something that I could easily do. Forget about the premium. I just want to qualify for more upside. That way my 1,000 deltas is working from 325 to 335, and I could eliminate that potential gap, if you will. So I could roll this thing up, bringing in any more premiums, but you're qualified for more capital appreciation. So the bottom line is, when you're selling options, you're dealing with options, you have options. But I'm excited. To pick up those 1,200 shares, to have the 1,200 shares, to know that I'm fully covered for the $325 run. And if Tesla starts acting like Tesla, I will most likely roll out and up, because I don't really intend on delivering the shares. I just wanted to be positioned to be able to deliver the shares if we chose to go that route. That's it in a nutshell. Palantir, we're locked and loaded, man. We're not cheering against this stock whatsoever. We are locked and loaded. You can see the position delta of 34,000. BM&R, we need this thing to perform. Bottom line is, we need this to perform. And SoFi is acting awesome, but you guys can see that we're down 79%, 77% on those premiums, because I wanted those monies to buy Palantir shares. That helped buy Palantir shares, because we went from 25,000 to 30,000 over the last few weeks. I wanted to finish out the build out on Palantir. So what am I looking to do here on SoFi now? Is I'm considering selling some calls for December. I already had it queued up for you guys. So I'm considering selling some naked calls for December. And I would like to get $70 a share, $70 a contract. And you see how it's good for the buying power. It's good for the buying power. Why is that number important? Because that's protection to the downside as well. That's why it's important. So effectively, if I do this right here, we would, and it fills. SoFi would probably have to go up another 10 cents for this to fill, give or take. We have another $175,000 to work with. Why is that important? Good question. Glad you asked. Because that's the money that I could use to buy another 300 shares of Tesla. That's the number, that's money that I could have, because it's all about our cash. I'm trying to keep the cash over $1 million. So I mean, I could go buy other stuff, right? I could buy other stuff to defend other positions, whatever the case may be. But I'd rather buy shares with other people's money. And SoFi hasn't been an outstanding premium collector as of late. It just hasn't. So anyways, you guys can see we got a lot of work to do in this portfolio, man. Had a lot of missteps, lost a shitload of money, Google, Apple, PayPal. That's the gist of it. And BM&R. Between those positions, we're talking about a drawdown of $10 million in short. So I got a lot of work to do. We're still in the BM&R trade, not in Google, not in Apple, not in PayPal. Not sure that I'll ever get back into PayPal because I transitioned from PayPal to Palantir, and Palantir's kind of worked out. So it is what it is. But I definitely have 2 slots reserved starting in 2027, and we're going to call it the comeback trades, and it's going to be Google and Apple. Google and Apple will be on here, and I'm going to spend the next 5 years getting all of my money back on Google and Apple now that I learned how to manufacture the win. What stock really showed me how to manufacture the win on Tasty Trade? 2 of them. Palantir was the first one. I really understood what all of these metrics meant with the Palantir trade, and now I'm enforcing that with Micron. We were down again 2 million on Micron, clawing our way back, but we don't have like that upside risk. It's all managed now. We're sitting on 3,400 delta. So again, we're not cheering against Micron. So anyway, that's all of it in a nutshell. That way you guys can kind of see that it all checks out, if that makes sense. So I've not like lost my level of transparency. I'm just showing it to you guys a different way. And I only need to go to the brokerage when it's actually time to make a trade, if that makes sense. Anyway, let's go on to our best section of the day, and that is always 1 minute with God. That is my favorite section because, you know, without him, we're nothing, man. Without him, we have nothing. And that's just the reality of it. So let me knock this out real quickly and go from there. So 1 minute with God on August the 3rd, change. How can God help me change the desires within my heart? When you commit your life to God, he gives you a new heart, a new nature, and a new desire to please him. When God stirs your heart, your desires will be in line with his will. Then it is your responsibility to act on those desires and serve him wholeheartedly. God's response: I will give you a new heart with new and right desires, and I will put a new spirit in you. I will take out your stony heart of sin and give you a new obedient heart. That is Ezekiel 36 and 26. God stirred the hearts of the priests and Levites to return to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple of the Lord. Ezra 1 and 5. Now we can really serve God, not in the old way, but in the new way by the Spirit. Romans 7 and 6, God's promise. Those who became Christians became new persons. They are not the same anymore. For the old life is gone. A new life has begun. 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. August the 3rd, 1 minute with God. Peace out. Now let me take the photo. I'll get that posted on X here shortly. So guys, that's what it is. You know, whenever you receive salvation, it's like the old you dies and the new person is reborn. So I feel like that's real appropriate to the portfolio because I tried not owning shares. I was like so convinced for 5 years. I was like, dude, owning shares, I don't think it's really capital efficient. And I still don't think that it is per se, but it's what works for me. I was like, I'm all about trying to lower the adjusted cost basis to zero because you could walk away from shares. What I mean is shares don't expire. So you could walk away from the portfolio. We build our share count. We don't have to sell covered calls. We'll walk away from the portfolio for 3, 4, 5 years, come back in the year 2032 and see what's what. That's an option for us when you own shares because they don't expire. You can never walk away if all you're doing is selling strangles. It's too time consuming. And especially with the amount of contracts that I was selling, it's like, dude, the screen time was up. It was up way too high. Now that I went back to my old self, buy shares, sell puts and calls around those shares, work on lowering the adjusted cost basis to zero, because that's the mission here. That's manufacturing the win. You write the freaking book. Go to the book. You lost your way. Go do the books. I turned into Moses, running around in circles for 40 years. Now we're back. The prodigal son has returned home, right? And now we're back on it, baby. Now we're back on it. Since we got back on it, the portfolio's up $2 million. And I'm like, dude, what was I thinking, bro? So that's definitely got to be a chapter in the book where TJ the Wheel Deal lost his way. But we're back. We're back. So now we're building bigger share accounts than ever. And we are back. We are back. We're selling puts just to backstop trades because that's my bread and butter. But we're doing the call ladder. And it's just now I'm like, the road to 20 million's clear. It's clear as the blue clear sky for me. And I feel like 100 million can't happen by 2032. If I screw it up and it doesn't happen until 2042, am I really going to be that angry? I'll be disappointed, but not angry. Anyway, I got to run, man. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Let me know what y'all thought about the format. Comment down below, on the actual comments themselves whenever the thing posts live. I got to run. TJ the Wheel Deal signing off. As always, guys, stay blue, stock screen. Peace out. God bless you guys.